Introduce Robert Herjavec, who will then introduce our guest of honor, Kym. Robert is one of North America's most recognizable business leaders. He is the founder and CEO of the Herjavec Group, a global information security provider. Most of you know him as a strategic investor on ABC's award-winning hit show, Shark Tank. On the 10th anniversary edition of Dancing with the Stars with Kym Johnson, and is proud to share his inside scoop on his Dancing with the Stars experience and the 5, 6, 7, 8 tie with us tonight. Please welcome Robert Herjavec to the stage.
Oh, ja sam jako dobro, hvala. We're speaking Australian for those of you that don't understand it. Thanks for coming out on such a cold day. So my name is Robert Herjavec. I'm a cybersecurity expert. I'm on a show called Shark Tank, but of course you know me from the 20th season of Dancing with the Stars. I was very proud of my win that season. In my mind, I won that season because I ended up with Kym. That was absolutely spontaneous. I just came up with that. So let me put this down. So, you know, the difference between Shark Tank and Dancing with the Stars is Dancing with the Stars is absolutely live. Shark Tank is really live because it's really our own money, and we're dealing with people's lives, and there's no second takes. They come out there, and it's, you know, the average pitch is an hour. But on Dancing with the Stars, you're in front of 900 people live in an audience with 15 million people watching at home. And it scares the crap out of you. I mean, it literally scares, like you're like, ah! And the one thing I really noticed right away, I was really impressed with, is the magic of that show is not the celebrities, it's the dancers. Because they're the absolute best dancers in the world, but it's not even their skill that makes them amazing, it's their ability to take somebody like me, or any other celebrity who doesn't know how to dance, has no skill, and within 2-3 weeks make them believe they're the best dancers in the world. So Kym started dancing at 3. She was the Australian champion. She competed all over the world, and she's been doing it for a long time. I never danced, and within 2 weeks, she made me believe I was the ballroom champion of the world. And in fact, I'll never forget, after 2 weeks, I was like, I don't know why it took her a lifetime to master this, because I got this. It's so easy. And then, of course, I had to do it live, and it was a whole different story. But she's a remarkable person, and when I first met her, I realized what an incredible woman she was. And almost a year ago, we talked about her coming out with a book, and we said to her, you should really come out with a book because you have an incredible story, and you're so motivating, and you're so passionate about what you do. And I'm so proud of her. Here she is a year later, almost with a book, and it's a great book. I recommend you read it, and we're trying to make the New York Times bestseller, so if you need a loan to buy it, we'll give you I'm just joking. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Kym Johnson.
Hello, thank you so much for coming out. It's so great. A lovely little introduction. I'm going to get grilled here. I feel like I'm on Shark Tank or something.
I've been trying to come up with really hard questions I could ask Kym all day long. It's just so exciting.
Oh gosh, I'm scared now.
You were great on Good Morning America today.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I did Good Morning America.
Who knew Michael Strahan could move like that?
He's a great dancer. You should do Dancing with the Stars.
What was your favorite food from the book? I know what the favorite food on Good Morning America. Kym made this recipe on Good Morning America this morning, which is in the book, and everybody loved it. And you know, when they give you stuff, sometimes they like it, but they loved it, even when they weren't.
Off camera.
Yeah.
All of the anchors were eating the pancakes, which happens to be my favorite recipe in the book. I have so many great recipes, but my favorite would have to be all of the pancakes, and they're flourless pancakes. I love pancakes in general, but they used to make me feel really full and heavy. And then I discovered these flourless pancakes, and they're smaller portions as well. And you don't have the guilt because they're not fattening for you, and they're delicious. There's so many different recipes as well. There's peaches and cream, which is Greek yogurt and peaches. There's so many wonderful recipes. So I love the pancakes. You can have them for breakfast, and you can also have them for dessert. Like I've whip them up for you sometimes after dinner as a little dessert treat instead of something heavier.
You usually just make them as dinner.
I do not. That's not true.
So Kym, you're 28 now, and how
And you're 45.
Yeah. That wasn't that funny. So you're 28 now. How old were you when you first started dancing?
I started dancing when I was 3, and my mum put me into dancing. Just, every little girl wants to go and dance, and I loved all the costumes and the tutus, and it was for fun in the beginning, and I made lots of friends at dancing, and I loved going there for that. But then I started doing really well at it and taking it seriously. I fell in love with it, and I only dreamt one day that I could actually do it for a career, but I didn't know if that was possible, and luckily I have been able to have dance as my profession, which is incredibly hard to do. Dancing with the Stars obviously has been amazing for me and opened so many doors. But yeah, as you said before, I was a competitive ballroom dancer, and I moved to London to be on the competitive scene, and I was doing competitions everywhere. I represented Australia in some world championships and was the Australian champion, but then I got tired of doing competitions and I wanted to do something else. I wanted to perform on stage. So then I did a show called Burn the Floor, which was actually here on Broadway, which was incredible, and I felt more at home on stage. So I did that for many years, and then a show called Dancing with the Stars started off in England, and then it was in Australia shortly after that. So they were auditioning, and I thought,
No problem.
I'm going to go for that audition, but I don't know if it's going to really take off, because who wants to see ballroom dancing, I think, had that stigma of something your grandparents did. I was very wrong, because it's obviously this huge hit. So I did it in Australia first, and then the rest is history. Came to
What
America.
many people don't realize is you actually didn't start ballroom dancing until you were older, 13 or 14, which is older for that world, and you did very well. You're the Australian champion, you're the Pan Pacific champion, and
Well, I wanted to be in musical theatre. That's really what I wanted to do. So I was training in ballet, jazz, tap, singing, and all of that. And my brother was the one that started ballroom dancing. He liked a girl at school, and she was taking ballroom lessons. So he asked my mum if she would take him to these ballroom lessons. And I was a bit snobby. I was like, gosh, I'm a real dancer kind of thing. And I remember we went to go and pick him up, and I sat there and I was like, wow, this is actually really beautiful. And then there was a little boy that didn't have a partner, so they asked me to get up and dance with him. And then that's how I fell in love with that form of dance. And all my other ballet friends were like, you're doing ballroom dancing, what? So no one really understood it, and thanks to Dancing with the Stars, people can now really appreciate the beauty of that form of dance.
Did your brother get the girl?
I think he did, but and he was actually a pretty good dancer. But as soon as I started, he was like, "Oh, that's it, I'm finishing." So he stopped dancing. He did it for a couple of years, but he gave it up, unfortunately.
What many people don't realize is when they first launched Dancing with the Stars, they actually couldn't get a producer at ABC to do the show because nobody thought it would be a hit.
Yeah.
So they had to hire an external producer because nobody wanted their name associated with it. And
They
here
just
it
sort of
is.
gave it away. They were like, "Oh, see if it works," you know.
Kym, in all the seasons you've had, was there one partner that really surprised? Was there?
My favourite dance partner?
We'll leave that to the end. Was there one partner that really surprised you that was completely different at the end than when you first met them, or your impression of them?
Yeah, actually, my first dance partner that I had, I won the show in Australia, and in Australia it was a really big show. We had some really big names.
I hate when people say you're a two-time ballroom Mirrorball champion. You're really a three-time.
Well, I won in Australia, but I think they don't really count that here in America. But yeah, I did win in Australia. But then they asked me to come to the States, so I was so excited. I thought, I've made it. I'm coming to America. I'm going to have some big A-list movie star like George Clooney or Brad Pitt. This story's in the book. And I was so excited. So I get on the plane, all my girlfriends are like, "Oh my God, Kym, you've made it, this is it, wow, like you're going to meet George and Leonardo and all of that." And I'm like, "I know, I'm so cool, so amazing." So get on the plane, we get to the studio, and we don't find out who we have until we walk in the door. So you're complete strangers, and you walk in the door, there's your partner. So So I get to the studio and the producer's like, oh, welcome to America and all of this, and I was so excited. And I'm about to go and meet this big movie star, and they said, all right, well, he's a big star in there, you're going to be like blown away. I was like, oh, this is great. So I open the door, walk in, and there's Jerry Springer. It was not George Clooney, obviously, very different. And I was like, oh, hi. It just wasn't what I was expecting. And I'll never forget the first words he said to me. He looked at me and he said, I'm sorry. And he ended up being, I think I did end up, like when I walked in and saw him there, I just saw like chairs flying in that show, you know, he does, the Jerry Springer show. I was like, oh my God, what? And I had this preconceived idea of him, I guess, just from that crazy show. But he's so smart, so kind, and such a great family man, and we ended up having the most incredible time. And I think Dancing with the Stars really allows the celebrity to show who they really are, and America can fall in love with them. And I think he ended up going on to host family shows like America's Got Talent, and we went really, really far. We were getting the lowest scores every single week, but people just fell in love with him. And
well, America fell in love with him and saw a different side to him. And he called you America's sweetheart.
With an Australian accent or something. I think he did. Yeah, he was great.
What a lot of people don't realize is that the pros don't just have to teach the inept celebrities to dance. You actually come up with the music, you have to come up with the choreography, you have to do the costume design. I mean, you don't make it, but it's all, where do you get your inspiration for all that stuff?
Well, that's the great thing about the show. The professionals, we get a chance to be so creative over, you know, the music, the costumes, the choreography. So that's a really fun part of being on Dancing with the Stars. But I do get inspiration from many different things. I grew up watching all of the MGM movies. I used to love all of that. So I'm inspired by those great movies and big dance numbers and Vera Ellen and Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire. So sometimes I'll do a big, you know, number like that, like the number in Central Park with Sid Charisse and Fred Astaire. I kind of did a number like that once on the show. So yeah, I definitely get inspired by that. And I used to fantasize about, you know, MGM days, and I was like, I wish I had been in that time. And I remember coming to America again from Australia. I'd done the show, and we have like a trailer. We all have like our own trailer in America, but in Australia, all of the dancers and the female celebs, we shared one trailer. And it was kind of just, that's just how it was, you know. It's like, off you go, get changed. And it's a much smaller show. So when I went to the States, I had rented a car because I thought I was just going to be there for 3 months. So I did like a rent-a-bomb, you know, that rent-a-wreck thing. So I'm driving this beat-up old car, and I get to this like amazing studio. I was like, oh my God, it's like the MGM movies. And I could not believe it. And there was the boom gate and the security guy. I drove in, and I even had my own name on my car spot, which I couldn't believe. And then this lady comes running, and she's my PA. She's like, hi, I'm your PA. I was like, what? And so I had a personal assistant, my own trailer, what do you want in your fridge? It was unbelievable, but I've never taken it for granted, and it's honestly been the best experience.
But you know, one of the things I noticed is we were on the show, we rehearsed every day for 75 days in a row out of 82. And what people see, you're so successful, and they always see the good stuff, but people don't realize it's really hard. It's hard to make a living as a dancer. It's hard to motivate the celebrities because you're really down days. You don't want to be there some days. It's really tough, and especially for you. You won one season, then the following season, you weren't back on the show. That must have been really tough. Sorry, I gotta go cash out.
You gotta go cash out, yeah. Oh, you could have been buying my book. I hope it's my book.
Hang on, Kym, someone's buying your book. I gotta go. But how do you, because that's one thing I really like about the book, is it's also about how do you motivate yourself and how do you motivate the celebrities?
Yeah, well, in the book, I talk a little bit about Dancing with the Stars and how I end up motivating the celebrities to get through each week, because all the celebrities that do it, it's a really vulnerable thing to do. I mean, you're this successful businessman, and you come in and you're petrified, and you're like, I can't dance.
Petrified's a strong word.
Oh. You were.
I was scared.
I remember saying to Robert, how would you dance? Like if you went to a wedding or if you were at home, he's like, I wouldn't. Like I don't dance. And I was like, oh my God. And you know, you gauge what you're going to be working with in the beginning. You have your celebrities do a few steps. But you really are their support, you're their everything, and you do this dance and the celebrities think it's really good, and then you stand there in front of the judges and they say it was horrible and this and that, and they like pull you down, and it's our job as a professionals to then forget that one, try and bring them back up again, motivate them to get through the next week. And you really have to encourage them every step of the way. Also, there's been many celebrities like Robert and Donny Osmond that I've learned so many great things from. So I share a lot of stories like that in the book, which hopefully will inspire some of you. And
one of the things I really love that I learned from you during the show is you've got to let your failures go right away. You got to let your
go.
And that was really hard when we had a bad week. The judges were really mean to you, and Kym would say to me, "It's over. We're never going to dance that dance again. You got to let it go." And on a bad week, it's easy to let that go. But when you have a good week, you're so excited. You want to live in that bask in that glory forever. And Kym would say the same thing. Okay, you got to let it go. You're never going to dance that.
But you were great like that because of the business. You've got to put your head down then and just get through to the next thing. So it's just week by week.
Why is it called 5, 6, 7, 8?
Well, 5, 6, 7, 8, obviously as a dancer, that's your cue to start dancing, and that's why we came up with the name, the 5, 6, 7, 8 diet. But the 5, 6, 7, 8 has a meaning as well for the diet. So number 5, you should have 5 sources of protein. Number 6, 6 colours of the rainbow. Number 7 is 7 anti-inflammatory foods, and 8 glasses of water. So when you break it down, it's a really easy, simple way to remember how to eat well. So that's what we want to do. It's not a diet book that's, gluten-free or dairy-free, or you sort of having to give up all these things. It's hopefully a diet book that can be lasting, and you can put this into your everyday lifestyle, because I think they're the ones that work. I think it's easy to do a quick, crazy diet that you'll lose 10 pounds in like a week or whatever those crazy diets are, but they don't last. So hopefully you'll find some great information in this book. And when I'm doing Dancing with the Stars, we do dance for 8 hours a day, and the celebrities do. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the book, because people would come up to me and say, I want to be a celebrity so I can do Dancing with the Stars and transform my body like they do. But what I think you don't realise is that there is 8 hours that go into it. They're dancing 8 hours a day, and no one could possibly do that. So that's why I wanted to do the book, because when I'm in between seasons, when I'm doing the show, I can have a few little naughty things here and there. But when I'm in between seasons, it's about the diet as well, because I'm not dancing 8 hours a day. So I still exercise, and there's great exercises in there that I do when I'm not on the show. But it's all about the diet, and that helps me maintain my weight. So
it was the hardest thing I ever did physically, and I'm in great shape. And I find that a lot of people don't exercise because they don't find it fun.
That's the thing.
It's hard. I mean, now that you're not dancing as much, I go to the gym and I run every day for an hour, and Kym comes with me, and after 10 minutes she's like, "Oh my God, this is so boring."
I get bored at running on a treadmill.
But that's the great thing about your book is you're learning to dance while you're doing exercise, which I think motivates a lot of people. That's why a lot of people stop exercising, because they're not having fun.
That's the thing. I think you have to make fitness fun, and also time. A lot of people don't have the time to go to the gym, and to get there, then you've got to do an hour at the gym. There's some really easy exercises. Even if you do 5-10 minutes of exercise a day, I think it's just makes you feel so much better. I've got like a 3-minute quick core workout in the book, which is really simple and easy to follow. I do that every morning, and it just centers me, and it's great for your posture. So there's, you can do some exercises in here that take half an hour, or you can do some that are like 5 minutes.
That's the amazing thing is I found that is, as much as I've worked out, the male dancers, Val and those guys, they have incredible abs.
Yes.
And even after a few weeks, just doing the twisting and the dancing, I never got abs
yes,
like those.
You did.
I never got abs like those guys. But you get comfortable enough after a month in the show, when they were standing there with Val and Arden and I, and Patti LaBelle came up to us and said, "I want you boys to take your shirts off."
Yeah,
and I was
she
like,
did. How do you say no to Patti LaBelle?
Yeah, I'm like, okay. And then what the hell am I doing? I'm taking my shirt off in front of 50 million people. So it really helps you get in shape in that way.
It really does. But in the book as well, I've got some of the friends that I've met on Dancing with the Stars. They're sharing some of their favourite recipes in the book, and there's a chapter on entertaining as well. I used to have a fear of cooking for a large group of people, so there's a whole chapter on that. And Florence Henderson has her recipes, Carson Kressley, Cheryl Burke. So
Were you surprised at how much you learned from me about dancing? Was that a surprise to you that I?
yeah, you did surprise me. I mean, there were some moves. I was like, how do you do that?
Yeah, it's true. Well, I mean, I know people think you're joking, but there was one move that we actually did use that I came up with.
Can you stand up and show everybody?
No.
We were doing, please. We were doing this samba. We had to do the samba, and that is the kiss of death, that dance, because it's so hard. It's very technically difficult. So I was.
Well, what's interesting is they do a dance. You dance with another woman. So it's with Kym and another girl. And all my friends, all my friends are like, oh my God, you're so lucky you get to dance with two beautiful women. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm having a hard time listening to one. God, listening to two.
I know, but I was like, how can I make this samba entertaining? So we did this catwalk thing. It was like this Milan kind of thing, and you were doing a runway, and I thought, because he looked so great in a suit, so I dressed him up in a suit, and I'm like, okay, we'll do this whole catwalk thing, and you can be in character. And as soon as I put the music on, you did this move. Can you show them, please? Come on. Do it. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8. Do it. I know. This one.
Oh, yeah.
Do it. What's happening to you? Anyway, it was great, and we made it.
It was amazing choreography until I forgot my steps.
He did. Yes.
That's the other thing you really learn about the book and the dancers and how hard it is. And I have a great story, if I may. We rehearsed a lot, and I used to think it was because Kym really liked me. I learned afterwards it's because I was so bad, I needed a lot of rehearsal. And I used to get really tired, and one day, a month and a half in, Patti LaBelle, I'm standing next to her, and I said, oh, because she was 73? Yeah, and she did this amazing routine. So I said to her, Patti, how do you do this? Like, that's incredible. I'm tired every day. She goes, honey, I only rehearse like an hour and a half a day. And I'm like, what? I'm rehearsing, and she did. She rehearsed an hour a day, and she'd show up, and she'd say, was she dancing with Val?
She was dancing with Artem. Yeah.
And she would say to Artem, here's what I'm going to do. You follow.
She did, but that's Patti. I mean, she had a thing going on.
Yeah, and she was great. And what I learned from her is because I was complaining how much I had to practice, she said to me, honey, it don't matter how much you practice, it's what happens when the camera is on. And it's true, because I used to be great at rehearsal. I never forgot my steps in the rehearsal. It's during the number sometimes.
Yeah. But you let it go. I mean, you're so charismatic. You can't teach that. With Robert, it was amazing because he has this charisma and that face and that smile.
Yeah, so the interpretation of that is, when you have a celebrity with no skill, let's go for the personality. Thanks, honey.
No, you were so great. When in doubt, I was like, just smile and no one will care.
What's your favorite part of the book? What was your favorite part to write?
Actually, my favourite part to write was probably the part about us, I would have to say. I was most nervous to write that. I didn't know whether I actually wanted to put it in the book. And, we had a conversation about it, and it just seemed a fitting end because obviously I talk a little bit about where I've come from with my journey, and it's a diet book obviously, but there are fun stories in there, and it just seems like a nice way to sort of finish the book, and it obviously very personal. So that was probably my favourite. I was actually writing that on a plane, because when we travel a lot, and we've been going back and forth to Australia. And Robert gets on a plane and he opens his laptop. This is a 14-hour flight, and he just works non-stop. He doesn't even eat, drink, nothing. I'm like, wow. The flight attendant's like, oh my God, we've never seen this before. And I had to, I wanted to write this part about us. So I felt like Robert. I got on a plane and I just opened my computer and just started writing, and I got so into it, and that was my favourite part, I'd have to say.
And I said, as long as you get half the royalties of the book, I'm happy to be included. No, I'm joking. Thank you.
Businessman.
Yeah. No, that was great. I think we're going to open it up for some questions from the audience, if anybody has any questions. Oh, by the way, I just want everybody to say hi to Kym's mom, who's in the audience. Her name is Barbara. She's going to be doing a dance demonstration afterwards by the front door. So she needs a partner if there's any good-looking older men. Just saying. How about you back there, young man? No, okay. I'm Croatian. I'm from a place called Varaždin. That's where all the great dancers come from. Yeah. Near Zagreb. Near Zagreb. Kym and I were just there not too long ago. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
When will a shark marry the mermaid?
Who's the mermaid? Oh, yeah. Well, you know, you never know. I think it's going to be a big year. Yeah.
I just want to say that and I'm sure everyone else, was really rooting for the two of you on the season that you were on, because one thing you had plenty of was enthusiasm, and I could tell every week you were having a lot of fun and really wanted to be there.
Oh, well, how could you not have fun with Kym? And I really can't believe we won. That was
No, Robert really was the most enthusiastic person I have ever worked with. But he's just like that in everything you do. You've got so much passion for everything you do, and
I love
love
it.
that.
I love that, man. Obviously, I love Kym, and she's easy to hang out with, and she's an incredible woman. But I felt like you get a chance to get into their world. And so I was trying to explain this to my guy friends. And I was like, oh my God, dance is incredible. They're such athletes. And my guy friends were like, I'm not getting it. I said, okay, let me explain it to you this way. Peyton Manning calls you up and says, you can come hang out with me for 3 months, and I'm going to teach you how to throw a football. And they were like, oh, I get it.
And that's kind of a big brag. Like, that's maybe...
Well, no, because they're the best athletes in their sport in the world, and you get exposed to that. It was incredible. It was an incredible experience.
No, Robert loved it. He kept saying to me, I can't believe I'm dancing. I can't believe I'm doing this. And it was so sweet. It actually gave me like a different appreciation for what I do. And I sort of fell in love with what I do again. So it was really refreshing.
Physically, and in the book, it really, before I did the show, I was the first celebrity to ask for that season. And I had spoken to Emmett Smith. Did he win?
He did win, yeah.
And so I met him and I called him, and he said, Emmett Smith said to me, it's the hardest thing he'd ever done physically. So I had about 3 months to train, so I ran and I worked out. And when I got there, when I first met Kym, I was about 170 pounds, in the best shape of my life. And within 2 weeks, I lost 10 pounds. And I never worked out. I mean, and it amazed me how fit you get just from movement. Because a lot of people think to exercise, you have to go really hard and hurt your body and be in a lot of pain, and you really don't.
It's just being active and moving.
Yes, ma'am.
Ron, do you do any dancing socially?
Well, as the world knows, I'm a great dancer now. No, it's, it's funny. It's very intimidating because, Kym is so beautiful and she's such a great dancer. I'm so self-conscious of, the worst thing for me is going out socially with Kym and her friends to somewhere where there's dancing. Because me and my friends, we all get up there and we start dancing. After a couple of vodkas, you think you're pretty good. And then Kym and her friends come out on the floor, and inevitably you're like just sulking back in your chair and
buying the drinks.
Yeah, buying the drinks.
He's like, I'll go buy the drinks.
But dance is wonderful. It's something that you can do your whole life. I mean, Kym's mom was a dancer, and she still dances. She dances every week, and she's in amazing shape, and it keeps you fit for your lifetime.
Yeah, we'll have to get back into it.
You have to teach me again.
I will.
Yeah.
Thank you. Both of your passion and commitment is so inspiring, and I'm really happy to bring my son here, Aki, who, I love you, and he loves watching Shark Tank.
Is his name Aki?
Aki.
Akram.
Aki.
Oh, it's
A-K-H-I. Aki.
one of my best friend's sons is named Aki, which is short for Akram.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
That's okay. But when you're traveling and with the busy lives that you have, how do you keep up with the diet? I assume you're not cooking for yourself every day. You have to rely on other people preparing your meals.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what, in the book, it's just making healthy choices. And it's quite easy to do. Once you figure out what you need to have in your diet with the 6 colors of the rainbow and the proteins, it's very simple and it's an easy way to remember what you should be ordering. So we do travel a lot, and we both find that we make healthier choices now. Sometimes we'll order a hamburger and fries, but we'll get sweet potato fries and we won't eat the whole bun. Like, you do that too, like you always take the top off. So it's just little things like that that will help. But both of our sort of New Year's resolutions were to cook more at home because we do travel, and I think that really does help. So when you aren't traveling, try and eat at home a little more. So that's what we try to do, and get in the kitchen, and it's fun. But then a little bit of exercise too. I take my sleeping rope with me everywhere I go, and TheraBand, and do some exercises in the hotel room. There's great exercises in here with just a towel you might use for an arm workout.
Kym's amazing. She actually has fun when she exercises. I found that so odd because I was used to working really hard and having it be painful. And then Kym was always like,
Put the music on
and I'm like, no, we're not in any pain. This can't be good for you. It's amazing. She works out for 10 minutes with these crunches, which are in the book, and I can't do them. I mean, I can run for an hour and I can go and have great cardio, but some of these crunches really tone you and they're really difficult. Yes, ma'am.
What's your go-to energy food?
Energy food. Well, when we're doing dance,
Mine is French fries. What about you, Kym?
No, it's not.
I'm joking.
Well, yeah, as a dancer, we have to eat constantly because you're burning so much, especially on Dancing with the Stars. We'd always have snacks, like we'd take like a little trail mix, my own little trail mix we take there, Greek yogurts, things like that, just to have fruit, just to have those kind of snacks.
It's one of the things that Kym talks about is a lot of people, when they think they want to lose weight, they stop eating. And your body needs food for fuel and energy. And it's actually the opposite. You're better off to eat more in smaller
portions. It's all about portion control as well. So I definitely have like a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but yeah, snack throughout the day. And I drink a lot as well. I think drinking lots of water is great for you as well. I drink water with lemon. I wake up every morning and drink hot water with lemon and a shot of apple cider vinegar.
I thought you were going to say a shot of vodka or something. That's not a good way to start your day. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Always. She always looks beautiful.
Even when I wake up.
It's true.
As a dancer from Australia, how important was the Strictly Ballroom to you, and have you ever danced with Paul Mercurio?
Well, actually, Paul Mercurio was a judge on the Australian version, which I'm now a judge on the Australian version, so I know him very, very well. And I was actually in Strictly Ballroom as like a little extra dancer. I was only, I think, 14. I just started ballroom dancing. We had no idea what this movie was going to be. And it was incredible for ballroom dancing. I mean, it was a big send-up of ballroom dancing, but to be honest, that's what the competitive world's kind of like. And I think they based it off quite a few couples that were in Australia competing at that time, and a few of the teachers and stuff like that. So for me as an Australian watching it, I could sort of pick who were the professionals and the couples. But that was, I think, Baz's first movie, and what a hit. It was amazing, and there's actually a stage show now. I think they're trying to bring it to Broadway.
Kym, why are so many Australians such great? Here's an interesting fact for you. At least half the dancers on Dancing with the Stars are Australian. Mm-hmm. The other half of them are Mormon.
And then there's a few Russians in there too.
And the rest are Russians.
The rest are Russians, yeah.
Yeah. Why is dance so big in Australia?
I think we work really hard and we have so much passion, and I think there's this dance, you have to be strong and you have to be passionate and really go for it. And I think that there's this Australian mentality where you just do it. And you suck it up. As a little kid, you just like, there's no excuses. You just do it. And you love it. A lot of the Australian dancers on the show have come from Burn the Floor, which I was in the original cast. And I was the first one to join Dancing with the Stars while they were all still doing Burn the Floor touring. So we've all kind of learned off the same teacher, Jason Wilkerson. I talk about him in the book as well. And we all have that same training And
I find it amazing. The dancers are beautiful and they're in amazing shape. But what I found really surprising is how mentally tough they are and how resilient you have to be a dancer, because you get a lot of rejection.
a lot of rejection.
And you go to a lot of auditions. And
That's the thing, as a dancer's life is tough. You know, you're going for an audition and they may just be looking for one person, and there's 50 people there in a room auditioning and they're going for it. And they cut you like it's just like, okay, off you go, and you just pack your bags and walk out. It's grueling.
so what's the key to being successful at something in life?
And I think you've just got to keep going. And as long as you love it, keep going for it. Don't you think? I mean, you in business?
As long as you have passion
As
for
long as
it
you have passion
and purpose,
and purpose.
you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure yet. I think they're casting it at the moment and doing all of that, so I'm not sure. It starts up again in March.
Actually, next season they might do something they've never done before. They're asking me to come back as a pro. Yeah, they've never actually done that before, but we're going to see how that
I
works
think there
out.
may be a reason why they've never done that before.
Yes.
I saw in the book that you have a tea for sweet cravings. I have a sweet tooth, and I was wondering if you have any other recommendations for healthy.
Yeah, I definitely have a sweet tooth as well. That's why I love the pancakes, because the banana is so sweet, and I have that for dessert sometimes. I have to say the pancakes are my favourite thing in the book, if I'm going over that. But they are. I'll have it for dessert with a little bit of Greek yogurt and some honey on top, and some berries. I love berries as well, strawberries and raspberries and things like that. We'll often have that in the evening. But all of the sweet comfort tea, there's so many teas in there. Like this sweet comfort tea tastes like kind of a combination of like a pudding and like a hot chocolate. So
What was the tea
it's
you
quite
did
filling.
on the doctor?
That was the sweet comfort
Oh.
tea. And that tastes like a dessert for me, and it's really sweet, but it's good for you with the cacao and the low-fat coconut milk. So there's so many great recipes. I know myself late at night, that's when I want to go for the tub of ice cream or the chips when I'm watching a movie or something like that. So now we both try and have like a tea or something, because it's hot, it takes a while to drink. I think it's the action of doing something while you're watching TV. So I think having something like a hot tea, it still fills you up and it tastes good.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been sidelined by injury?
I did have a really bad injury with Heinz Ward, Pittsburgh Steeler. It's a shame they're out of the Super Bowl thing. I'm a Steeler fan. I'm a Steeler fan, so.
She's only saying that because yesterday somebody asked her a question about NFL football, and she went, "Go Steelers!"
And then they went
And I was
out.
like, they got kicked out.
I was like, oh, okay. But I'm a big Steeler fan. I didn't know much about American football until I danced with Heinz Ward, and I fell in love with it. He introduced me to the sport, and he was still playing, so I got to go watch some games. But I had a really bad injury with Heinz Ward. We were going into the semi-finals, and the show had been on for like 10 seasons. And I was trying things that had never been done on the show, because you start to get competitive at that point in the competition. It's almost the finals. I wanted to do something crazy, and I thought, well, I've got this football player, I'm going to do these lifts. If there's any time I can do it, it's with him. So I was watching some things on YouTube, as you do, and I saw the world salsa champions do this crazy trick. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's so strictly boring. I was like, if we can pull this off, we're going to blow them away. So I showed Heinz. He's like, oh yeah, that looks pretty easy. But he's not a professional. So I was figuring out how it's done, and we attempted it the first time, and we actually did it. I was like, oh my gosh, great. So we got to do it again, and you needed momentum. I was swinging underneath his legs, and he was flipping me under and then coming back up again. But this time we didn't have momentum, and he dropped me on my neck, which I remember feeling, oh my gosh, and then his weight fell on top of me because he lost his footing. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh. And it was kind of like, I've never been in a car crash, touch wood, but I've heard it sort of slow motion, and that's exactly what happened. I was like, oh my gosh. And I rolled to the right, thank goodness. And then I had a terrible injury. I tore like the tendon off my bone and sprained my spinal cord and bones, and it was awful. But then we went on to win the Mirror Ball, so. It was pretty bad. I was in hospital, and Cheryl Burke stepped in. It really is a family environment on Dancing with the Stars, and she stepped in to to replace me, but I was like, that's not going to happen. So I got out in a neck brace, and I couldn't really move my neck very well, so we had to modify some of the stuff. Yeah, we modified the choreography, and it ended up being fine. But that was pretty bad injury. I wasn't sidelined though. I wasn't going to let that happen.
I never remember you coming in and watching stuff off YouTube that you and I could try. That was
Aww.
really out there. All right.
Kym, how about just one more question so we can move on?
Sure.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, they're all so amazing. All the male pros are incredible. Just my favorite male pro dancer.
Oh my God. Really? Like, I'm sitting right here. Wait till I leave.
Of course, my favorite dancer ever is Robert Herjavec. But the pro dancers, you know what, Derek Huff is incredible. He's probably my favorite. I love him as a person. He's so sweet. He's so great with his partners. People often say, oh, why does Derek get the best girls all the time? And he doesn't. It's what he does with them. That's why he's so good. I think, I don't know, it's just what he brings out in his celebrities, and he's the best at doing that. So Derek's my favorite, and I think he's a great guy.
I think that was such a great moment for me when Derek came up to me and said, you're probably the best dancer that's ever been on the show. I wish we were partnered together.
Really? But all the guys help. Like, they would come in,
it's true.
Derek would come in and say, oh yeah, I'd ask Derek to come in and show.
Because sometimes Kym would teach me, obviously, but she would, what people
I have
don't
to do
realize,
the man steps.
she has to do the men's steps and the women's step when she's teaching me, because I'm watching her, and then it gets so complicated, she would sometimes bring in Val
and
or
looking
Arden.
at me, like, he's watching me do his part, and I'm not that masculine. So sometimes just
No,
seeing...
you're not.
But seeing a guy do it, you get that visual straight away. So we'll do that with the female celebrities as well. I'll go in and help some of the female celebrities. But I think people assume we have a team of people with us in a room, but it's the pro and the celebrity and a cameraman. So
Well, it's a great book. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight.
Yes,
and
thank you.
Kym, congratulations. This is your
Thank
second
you.
year. I'm so proud of you, as everybody is.
Thank you
and I
very
hope everybody
much.
buys the book.
Thank you, Kym and Robert, for a great discussion. Guys, if you'll stay seated for a couple minutes.